Hello everybody, my name is Devon and welcome to another Datapack patch notes video. Today we have something a little different. We are directly on a full-featured changelog of truesurvival version 3.0. Now, usually I'll go inside Minecraft and we'll do something like some visual representations of what the changes are, and we'll still get some of that in the full feature showcase going up on June 8th. But for today, going over all the changes, we're gonna tone it down a notch, because the changelog is over 120 items, so I do not want to build another 120 areas for all these different changes after already building almost 100 areas for the full feature showcase. Now, I'm being a bit lazy, I admit, but I hope you guys will enjoy nonetheless. So instead, what if we had just a bit of a discussion in the comment section? You know, what is your most controversial Minecraft idea? And explain why. But anyways, here is a dancing person to accompany us on our changelog journey, and let's just jump right in. So we're going to stick mostly to the new features and gameplay, but first, let's just briefly go over some of the changes and minor additions. There were lots of compatibility changes going up to 1.17, lots of datapack conventions, things that will make me look more professional, things like that, as well as tons and tons of optimizations. For example, the biter ability from Deadlier Zombies has been improved to not even using a tick aura effect and using an advancement system. This has happened to so many of the different features. This has happened for Huss, this has happened for the zombies, it's happened for the polar bear fishing features, it's happened for the pig feeding features, just tons of different things like that. The REM sleep has been converted to using a scoreboard and also made much more efficient and less taxing on the performance. Absorption effect lengthened. If you've seen the other patch notes videos, there's just tons and tons of new content coming. Some other things we can go over is there's a new pack.png, as well as disc 11, the spooky disc in the resource pack, has been changed to a song by our very own Tired Mutt, who also hangs out in our Discord from time to time. So if you want to enjoy that song, be sure to download the resource pack, because you'll also be able to get it from the Ender Dragon. There's also new custom model data prefixes, which just means there is an incredibly low chance that any of the custom items will ever have conflicts, at least with their textures, with other data packs. Also, I added a little True Survival reference to the title splash text in the resource pack, which I think might be cool if you guys can find. But yeah, let's just get right into the features. We'll go all the way down the list. First, we got copper ingot and copper blocks have been added to the beacon payments and base tags. So what that means is any and all copper variants, at least for the blocks on the beacon base, can be used in the beacon pyramid. Any of the weathered or waxed weathered variants of the copper block can be used to power your beacon, as well as using ingots for the beacon payment. Now there's also a dev diary guidebook that is given to you upon loading in. It's basically a brief survival guide that'll help players when they first spawn in. Moving on, we also have all items now use custom model data, as you probably guessed from earlier. Now there's only one resource pack, and it's not as janky as it was before, relying on Optifine features or just completely overriding the base items that they're made from. So now, custom model data, it's all nice. We added loot boxes to spawner loot, and this will also depend on where you're mining the spawner. So different spawners in different areas will have different levels of reward. Right now, it's just regular spawners in the overworld and spawners in the nether, but I might add some more predicates to that, maybe depending on the structure exactly they're in, which will determine what loot you get from breaking the spawner. I thought I'd just create some nice decision making between, you know, do I keep the spawner to make a farm, or do I go for this instant reward with the loot that comes out of it. But yeah, moving on, there's a new old bundle custom item given when you first spawn in. This does a couple things. It's meant to alleviate some of the early game inventory issues. You can just pack all your different random unique items into your bundle, and it also contains 1 emerald, so that's just supposed to allude to sort of the other mechanics in True Survival with the wandering traders, as well as the emerald progression tree. You know how you have to use enchanting tables, or to make enchanting tables you have to use emerald blocks, to make ender eyes you have to use emeralds. This is just supposed to sort of help prime the player that an emerald is an important item in True Survival. Small change here. Magma blocks added to Strider warmth. Yeah, they'll be warm when on magma blocks, pretty simple. This is also a pretty big one. All True Survival added recipes will be granted to the player's recipe book when they first load in, so if you're having trouble remembering a bunch of the specific recipes, you don't have to load up the wiki to make sure you're doing it correctly or to figure out which recipe to make next. All those recipes will be in your recipe book. Just make sure to scroll through there if you're ever feeling lost with any of those recipes. But yeah, over here, bookshelves now require netherwood to craft. Basically it. This provides a bit of separation between the enchanting table and getting to level 30, which I thought was interesting. So you can still craft an enchanting table and get some basic level enchantments, but you're going to have to explore and go into a bit of danger in the nether in order to come back and start building up your level 30 enchanting. Of course, you can still just silk touch and gather it from other places, like the stronghold or libraries. Libraries? What the heck? Libraries from villages. But this is just an extra bit of progression to the enchanting system. Over here, we saw from the other day's patch notes. You can now clean and befriend polar bears with shears, and you get a chance for a fishing net. Won't go too much in on that, just because we had a speed patch notes on that, but yeah. Also went over these new on-hit on-hit ability for biters and husks. Yep. Also, spawners have been added to the Protected by Piglins tag. What that means is if you're just in a bastion and you find a magma cube spawner and you break it, you're gonna enrage all the piglins around you. So it's a bit of added difficulty to that structure that I thought was pretty cool. Over here, you can make amethyst shards into arrows instead of flint. Pretty simple. You can use candles in your jack-o'-lantern recipe. I also added the custom crafter, which we had a speed patch notes on, so we can just skip over that. Oh yeah, and there's new textures for the fishing net, Nomad's brew, and all the Nomad's pickaxes. As always, the resource pack is completely optional, but I think this will be a cool incentive to pick that up and get some nice immersion. Oh, mentioned this earlier, Ender Dragon can now drop a cassette tape containing the song from our Tired Mud. Over here, craft spectral arrows from Glow Ink. Very nice, very nice. Added a chain decraft recipe. So part of the iron economy has integrated chainmail into the progression, so you can pick up some early game armor before iron and in between leather. Yeah, so this is meant to help with any leftover chains you might have from the chainmail you've been crafting. You can convert each chain into 1 iron nugget. Over here, this is with one of the recent tags updated 1.17. Pretty cool. Whenever you're mining axe or glass type blocks, you want to use an axe. It'll mine it efficiently, and if you have a good enough axe, you can even instant mine your glass with an axe. Over here, healing salves are now a bit stronger. I felt they weren't as strong as other healing options, like maybe regeneration potions or golden apples. This should help make healing salves a bit more appealing to the player. They now cure wither and poison, which is pretty cool. There's also a rework to the wither boss that we'll get into in a bit, which will help with that as well. New advancement for collecting all the different wandering trader items, so this would mean the Nomad's brew, both the Nomad's pickaxes, and the Nomad's boots. So yeah, if you collect all 4 of those custom items, you'll get a neat little advancement. This is from today's speed patch notes. You'll get a mild hunger tax when hitting entities while wearing a diamond or netherite chestplate, with netherite taxing slightly more than the diamond chestplate. That's just a bit of balance towards the hunger system. We completely removed the weakness effects from the diamond and netherite chestplates. Just felt like bad gameplay. While I did support the reasons behind it and maybe the bit of the numbers, I just don't think this was, it was very fun, I guess. Moving on. Blocking non-projectile damage with your shield will tax your hunger mildly. Another addition to the hunger tax areas. Yeah, just there wasn't enough hunger being depleted. Since natural regeneration is off, you don't get a lot of hunger being removed from the healing effects. That's how hunger works in Minecraft. Whenever you heal from eating, it in turn takes some of your hunger out. Without that, with natural regeneration off, we needed to introduce some more hunger taxes. So we are introducing these, but don't worry, I don't think it'll feel as bad as it might sound. If it even sounds bad at all. But yeah. Moving on, we have some cool stuff from the Lumberjack datapack module that we introduced earlier this year. Axes with the Fortune enchantment can now yield planks. So this will be an opportunity to increase your wood income without directly getting logs. So that's a bit of a balancing thing. If you want to get logs for say your campfires or for building, you'll probably want to use a different kind of axe. But if you want to just get bulk amounts of wood, having Fortune on your axe can almost double, or even sometimes more than double, the amount of wood you're getting. But yeah, moving on. Lumberjack Villager from Vindicator Conversion, you guys know that already. Undead Vikings can now switch back to a bow if you go too far from the Viking. So yeah, if you just run away, it'll switch to a bow and kind of shoot you from behind, which is pretty cool. Crimson and Warped Stems is just an extension of our wood rework. They'll yield 6 planks instead of 4. This does a couple things. It's just kind of nice when you're getting bookshelf wood. You can just get a stem per bookshelf, as well as providing some incentive to mine out the trees in the mid game when you're wanting to get some more wood income and craft some other things. So there's been a few different ways that we've been increasing our wood income, since wood is used so much in True Survival due to the campfire mechanic. Moving on, I'm sure you've noticed this. Stage 3 Phantoms from Ender Dragon Fight now have end crystals riding them. So, you're gonna want to be good with that bow. Either take down the dragon fast enough that not a lot of phantoms are getting the chance to spawn in, or you're gonna have to start sniping out the crystals or the phantoms themselves from the air. Obviously, these are stage 3 phantoms, so they're not going to be spawning as much as the stage 2 phantoms, but you're going to want to look at these nonetheless. I do recommend visiting the spectral arrows. But yeah, over here we also added a minion slaying heal effect to boss fights. So this is a bit of more dynamic gameplay for the boss fights I thought would be interesting. So phantoms don't count as minions, but the illusioner that's been added to the boss fight does. So this minion slaying heal effect will occur every time you slay an illusioner in the end. You'll get a bit of healing as well as clear any of the illusioner's negative effects. But yeah, so that's a bit of dynamic gameplay for that boss fight, and also a bit of a reward for the player for just being good and clearing out the ads. Also, small tweak, Endstone and Bedrock now light Soulfire. I thought it added some cool ambiance to the end during the fight. All the end crystals will have blue fire under them. When you respawn the dragon, the Bedrock altar will have its own blue fire. Just some other cool additions that I thought were nice. Over here, just a small tweak. Crafting mossy cobblestone stone brick gives 2 blocks instead of 1, which just makes sense. You're crafting with 2 blocks, so you should get 2 blocks back. Added the Deep Mobs ability, so this will only apply if you're using the Caves and Cliffs data pack or when we get to 1.18. A fair amount of mobs. This should exclude basically everything. It should be basically everything excluding skeletons and creepers will have an increased speed attribute when below Y0. A similar buff has been added to any biters when below Y0, increasing their chance for spawning reinforcements. Yeah, just a bit of cool difficulty tweaks there. I am looking to probably increase a bit of the reward when in that deep area, but nothing conclusive yet as to what direction we're going to go in there, just because we just don't have enough information about how the underground is going to be balanced in 1.18. Still a lot of changes were happening before they stopped working on it, and so these last couple deep mobs features are still subject to change. Oh, okay, here we also have a little advancement for reaching below Y0, just a little cool marker. Over here, we have a new structure spawning in the Soul Sand Valley. This is just because the Soul Sand Valley has basically zero incentive to explore, and while I have increased the gas tier yield in True Survival, this just, it's not fun. There's just multiple long-range enemies. You're slowed down by the soul soil, or the soul sand. It's just not fun. So this is meant to provide a little incentive, a little bit of discovery, and maybe even a little bit of enjoyment to the Soul Sand Valley. So whenever you find a soul well, you'll be able to toss in a poppy to convert to a wither rose. Also a little bit of a reference, an Easter egg to the poppy used to be a rose in the older versions of Minecraft. Keep on going. We got a new wood progression True Survival advancement branch, so it'll just guide you there. When you get a fortune axe, you'll get an advancement. You'll also get an advancement for trading with a lumberjack villager. Spelunkers now wear a lantern on their head, so you can more easily see them when they're invisible at night. There's a new undead tag we went over in the speed patch notes coming out today, that came out today. Basically, all with the undead tag will destroy torches. It's not all undead. Right now, it is zombies, husks, skeletons, wither skeletons, zombie villagers, strays, and drowned. Which sounds like a lot, but it's really just the variants, plus a couple, one or two. So it's only really 2 to 3 unique mobs at any given situation that can destroy your torches. So just a bit more increased danger, but not really by too much. Over here we have the wither boss fight I was alluding to earlier. There is now a recharge phase in the wither fight. So one of the issues with the wither fight, at least that I find, is that it's so unnecessarily hard. It's not even hard in a fun way. It just kind of hovers right above you and just rails you with explosives over and over until one of you dies. And it becomes more of a stat check and more of a just see who has the better armor or regeneration, and if you do, you win. Especially in single player. In multiplayer, it's kind of interesting. You can run a train. One person takes aggro, another one takes shots at it with a bow. But other than that, to be in multiplayer to enjoy a feature does not sound good. So we added a recharge phase to the wither fight. So every 8 shots, I believe, after the wither lands 8 shots onto you, it enters a recharge phase where it stands still and summons 2 wither skeleton minions to protect itself. Now earlier I mentioned the minion heal effect. The same will apply here. When you kill the wither boss's minions, wither skeleton minions, you'll get a bit of healing as well as clearing any wither effect you might have gotten from the fight. So this provides a bit of reprieve as well as an opportunity. If you manage to kill the wither skeleton minions, you'll have a bit of an opportunity to get some free damage in on the wither boss before he starts attacking you again as he's recharging. But yeah, I think people will have fun with that. Let me know how it goes in the comment section once you start playing with that. Over here, Voyagers sell invisible item frames and invisible glowing item frames. So that tag was added recently and it felt like a shame not to have it acquirable somewhere. And yeah, it felt like some relatively endgame tech, so I thought put it on the Voyager. It felt right. Let me know what you think. And down here is one of our recent data packs, or True Survival modules. Mobs found inside strongholds are infested, and they'll spawn 2 silverfish upon death. A bit of parasite action. Yeah, I just thought strongholds, they didn't really have much of an identity. Let's give it to them, and let's just expand on the identity they already had. One of the things I mentioned in the parasite video was just that the stronghold had something really cool with the silverfish, but once you're inside, you don't really see it that much, just because if you just don't mine any of the blocks, it ended up being that the silverfish was more like a deterrent, like the Elder Guardians mining fatigue rather than the Guardians themselves, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think that'll make it very interesting. And then we have so many optimizations and tweaks and other things. I hope you guys are ready. This update has been a long time in the making. I actually had to cut out a ton of things that just happened during the design process from this changelog. So at first the changelog was actually at like 200 plus items, but after I cut down things that I was tweaking in the process and cutting out old things or whatever as we made new design decisions, we being just me, I guess, we came down to a solid 120. But yeah, that is it, guys. Tomorrow, June 8th, True Survival version 3.0. I hope you guys are ready and excited as I am. Thank you guys for playing, thank you guys for downloading, and I will catch you later. Bye-bye.